Welcome back to the Art of the Paint podcast, a women's basketball podcast hosted by myself, Tyler DeLuca. And today I have a very, very, very special guest, Notre Dame point guard, Olivia Miles. Olivia, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm not going to lie, Olivia. I got a little bit of a bone to pick with you just to start this off. Just a little bit. I'm born and raised in Norman, Oklahoma. I go to school at OU.
Yeah.
I've been an OU fan my entire life, a women's basketball fan my entire life. What did Oklahoma do to y'all? Like what happened? How did that happen?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't Oklahoma in particular. Like, we had been talking all season about how we're going to peak at the right time. And I guess at that time we just peaked, and no disrespect. It was a great game, great players. But we came out, we did our thing, we were clicking on all cylinders, and it was just crazy to see, the results that we had been working for all season come to life. Fortunately, it had to come out in that way, and I'm sorry, but it did, and we got a big win.
Yeah, I mean, big win. Emphasis on the big. I mean, it was like 100 points. But so you kind of talked about like peaking at the right time, like that mentality. Was like kind of in addition to that, was there a sense of kind of like disrespect, like a chip on your shoulder because you guys weren't receiving home court in the tournament?
Yeah, it kind of upset us that we weren't hosting, but at the end of the day, we put ourselves in that situation. So, I mean, yeah, we were the underdog, and I feel like, coming into an opponent's gym, we had no pressure. They were the higher seed, so we just played, and I feel like that helped us a lot. Teams can tend to, fold when there's a lot of, home court advantage for the other team. But I feel like we did a good job of just generating our own energy. And like you said, like I said, we were the underdogs. So that really pushed us to help win.
So obviously kind of towards the end of the regular season, you guys had some tough losses, like before kind of heading into postseason. But then you guys come into the tournament. Obviously, you beat the 4 seed, win your first round, and you probably should have won the NC State game. Like, I mean, I think you said it last night on your Twitter space that you feel like you should have won that game. And I mean, you guys dominated it. What was the difference between the team that kind of lost those last couple games versus the team that was fighting like that in the March Madness tournament itself?
Yeah, I mean, our coaches did a good job of, instilling this sense of it's a new season, it's a state of desperation for everyone. So everyone has to be on their top game. And I feel like we really took that into account, and we didn't take any plays off, and we were just super intentional and detailed about what we were coming to do and what we were coming to complete. Obviously, the national championship is the goal. That's what everyone dreams and thinks of. But it was really game by game for us, and I feel like once we started focusing in on that, we started playing better. Instead of we may have to play NC State in the third round or fourth round, we were just honed in on the game in front of us.
Yeah, so you mentioned your coaches there. I kind of want to get into, like, can you kind of describe your relationship with Coach Ivey and how that relationship has developed over the course of this first season and now into the off season?
Yeah, so her and I, we definitely have gone through our growing pains. I love her a lot. But we had to learn each other, and that was definitely a process. But it was a great process. Once we learned each other and knew what each of us needed, and the communication piece, we just clicked. And when your head coach is clicking with your point guard, I think that's a super special thing, because I am an extension of her on the court. So our relationship, we were always close, but we got even closer, and it's just because we got more familiar with each other and knew what each other wanted and executed on the court.
Do you ever go back and watch any of her film from back when she was playing, when she was in the WNBA or at Notre Dame?
I've tried to, but I can't really. I find clips here and there. But what I mainly do is I look at the stats. I believe she is a season assist leader holder. I actually told her today, I was like, I'm coming after that one. But no, I pay attention to her stats and what she did here at Notre Dame. I know she got hurt. But I try to look back at certain clips, and I have seen a few.
Who's taking it one-on-one? You were coach.
In her healthier days, she would put up a fight, but I think I would win for sure.
I love it. So one thing, like I said, watching games on TV is one thing. Watching it in person is a completely different like visual. And so I'd watched you play obviously prior, but then getting to see you in Norman, the passes you were making and like your vision and everything was like, I've kind of run out of words to describe your game. Like you're probably my favorite player to watch in the entire country.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna give it to you. How would you describe your game? Is it more instinctual? Is it like, are you watching film and like reading stuff? Kind of how would you describe the way you play?
Yeah, I mean, I watch a lot of film. I watch a lot of like NBA film. I feel like I try and model my game after a lot of different NBA players like Trae Young, Steph Curry. But for me, for the passing wise, I feel like that's just like a game to game thing. Like, I have a gift. I truly believe that I could just read things very quickly on the court. And I've just been in so many plays where I know where people are going to move and I know how defenses are going to shift. So I definitely just read it in game, and then I watch film and see, oh, I could have had her, and then I do it the next game. So I definitely do watch film, but I would say I just try and mold how professionals play their game, and I try and put it into mine.
Right. Do you have a WNBA player that I know you mentioned Trae and Steph? I know. I feel like it's kind of been a lot of discourse about younger women's players and how much they've been watching the W. And obviously, with it being more accessible, it's getting easier. Has there been any W players that you've been able to model your game at?
Yeah, Sue Bird. She's one consistent answer that I use all the time. I feel like she's such a great dynamic point guard. And it's just been around for so long in the best way possible. But
right.
she's played through different generations and her game has changed. So it's just crazy to watch her evolve and watch her just, play and pass, and just her IQ's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I know I've seen you in a lot of Twitter spaces recently. Mm-hmm. What kind of got you started with that? Is it just for fun? Like what's kind of the vibes with that?
I don't know. I like interacting with the fans. I like interacting with people who support us. I just like talking about basketball in general. So any chance I get to, I will. But it all started this fan account on Notre Dame sent me this invite, and I was like, oh, why not? Like, it's a new thing for Twitter to do. So I was like, why not? I'll just try it out. And so I just clicked on the invite and we started talking, and then they did a few more after that, and then I started getting invited to more. So it's been fun, and I love doing them so far.
Do you think there's a future in media or broadcast for you?
I don't think so. I'm not really good in front of a big camera, but like I like podcasts and stuff like this, or Twitter spaces where you can just talk. I really like that aspect. Not really, lights, camera, action.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. Well, last night in the committee Twitter space, shout out to the committee. You mentioned Skylar Diggins and her triple-double record and Louisville tweeting about her and stuff like that, and you really took that personally. Yeah. Have you talked to Skylar Diggins Smith? Is she someone that you've consistently talked to? Is she just someone that just game you model? What is that relationship like with her, and how much she means to you?
Yeah. I mean, she has been my mentor. Obviously, we don't talk all the time. She's very busy. But when she can talk and when she has the time, she always reaches out. She reached out to me after I got the triple double in the tournament. She's just super supportive, and after she was at the Louisville game, we sat down and we had a long conversation, and we were talking about different things that I need to get better at, and she was just telling me things I could work on mentally. And so she's just a role model. She's someone I can look up to. She's someone who is in communication with me, and I feel like that's really important. But no, in terms of Louisville, that just rubbed me the wrong way. I feel like you can't disrespect a legend like that, and I did take it personally because I think it's just disrespectful. And she defends me. I want to defend her. And I mean, that's just, I was just defending her in that moment. Everyone went crazy, but people forgot that I was talking about Sky. I was like, I'm just defending her. Like, you can't be doing her like that, but.
Right. Now that you kind of have this first season under, I know, like I said, last time I heard you in Twitter spaces, you got Louisville circled. That's a game you're ready for. Has there been any kind of other, even whether it's not even necessarily have to be any type of beef or anything, but any other matchups that you're looking forward to, just even if it's just being able to test your skills one-on-one with another great player?
Yeah, I mean, and all of these games are circled because I love playing the best competition. I love going against going against huge competitors in Jeff Walls and, Haley Van Lith and all of those girls. Just really, really great, basketball players. But I would say, I don't know our schedule yet, but definitely there's going to be a UConn matchup that I'm really excited for. I hope we play this Big Ten ACC challenge. I hope we get a good Big Ten team. So there'll be, countless games where we're going to, face tough opponents. And I'm super excited for that because, that's why I came here. I wanted to play on the biggest stage against the best competitors in the country.
So obviously, kind of shifting, looking ahead a little bit to next season now. Maya Dotson was, that was kind of a whole fiasco about her eligibility and everything. Yeah. But she does get drafted in the WNBA draft, and we saw the video on Twitter of you being in the room when she got drafted. How was that? Kind of explain those feelings, being able to see, obviously not maybe what you guys wanted for Notre Dame, but obviously really cool for your teammate. Kind of bring me into that room a little bit.
Yeah, it was so amazing because, it had just been a tough week. She just found out that she, was not going to come back, and she was pretty down. And, we were in our group chat. We were pretty sad about it because she had just texted us, and but we knew that something good was coming at the end of the tunnel. And when the draft happened, they had the names on the bottom of the TV. So I was, looking at the TV. I didn't really see the name pop up, and everyone started screaming. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it was just it was a crazy experience. She was super emotional, as she should be, with her mom there and, Coach Ivey, and we were all just so excited for her. But that was the light at the end of the tunnel for her. And I feel like she had said to herself that, it had been a hard week. She had just been upset about not, being able to come back. But, getting drafted to a team with two other Notre Dame players and in need of a backup, big, I feel like is going to be so amazing for her. And I can't wait to see what she does.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't really have been a better situation if she wasn't going to get the eligibility. She went to the perfect team. And so, yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a good season for her. But you kind of mentioned just now, just having the names kind of scroll on the bottom. What did you kind of think of the draft coverage as a whole? Because we got the names read out in the first round, and then it felt like after that, we just kind of went downhill about actually talking basketball is what it seemed like. So what were your thoughts on kind of just the draft coverage as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of confused. I was like, why are these names popping up on the bottom? I feel like people should get, the recognition they deserve. But I feel like the coverage is, I don't know. I think it should be a bit better. There are people invited to the draft that, some people's names were called up who weren't invited to the draft. So it was interesting to see, how they all set it up. And like I said, I didn't even notice that Maya had gotten drafted because it was on the bottom. So I feel like just more, I wouldn't say respect, but more just I don't know the word I'm looking for, but more acknowledgement that, these girls have made it and have just done an amazing thing. And I don't like that after the first round, they kind of sporadically called names out. Yeah.
So one thing, another kind of just on the subject of kind of coverage in general, I feel like I've seen a lot of coaches and fans and players kind of going back and forth about if fans should be allowed to almost question coaches because they aren't on the sidelines and stuff like that. Maybe they're not credible enough to talk basketball. What do you kind of feel like that? I mean, I feel like with you being in the Twitter spaces, you're kind of opening that conversation up and kind of building that bridge a little bit. But how do you feel about kind of fan discourse and if fans could kind of, I guess, question coaches and players in a way?
Yeah. I think, it's been going on for years. I think there's a line where I said this in my Twitter spaces yesterday, but I think there's a line where you're doing too much and you're doing just enough. And I feel like once it starts getting to an attacking point or rude, I think that's unacceptable. But I feel like everyone is entitled to their own opinions. They're allowed to step in whether they know basketball, they don't know basketball, because that's just how the world works. But no, I feel like fans are, and definitely with social media nowadays, everyone has a voice, so everyone's entitled to say what they want. But as long as it's respectful and not hurting anybody, extremely hateful, I think is inappropriate. But other than that, I feel like it's fine.
So now, kind of tapping back into the draft, a lot of talk going about the fits, the fashion shown at the draft. First off, what was your favorite fit? Who shined the most? And then looking ahead to presumably you going to draft day, if you could picture in your mind right now, what does your draft day fit look like?
Yeah, I was honestly thinking about it, and I didn't know. Like they had some amazing fits, like Shakira Austin, Destiny Henderson. They all looked great. I feel like there were so many good fits. I can't even pick my fit. I think Destiny was best dressed, but there were so many great ones. But for myself, I don't know. I don't know if I was thinking about, I don't know if I want to go like classy or more swaggy like Destiny. I don't know yet. Like she busted out the Nike Dunks, I feel like, and that I feel like that's a statement. Just like the swag and her personality. So I was thinking about it. I'm not sure, classy or swaggy. I have to decide that one.
Well, I mean, you got plenty of time, but you're going to be on that stage. So we gotta make sure that we get that set because you got to come out right. So kind of now looking ahead just for next season as a whole, first for you individually and then for Notre Dame as a team, where do you feel like the improvements need to be made? Where can those next steps be taken at?
Yeah, I feel like at times we weren't playing cohesively as a unit on the defensive end, and I feel like we need to just be better at communicating. Um, there were a lot of lapses like on weak side rotations or baseline help. So those are all fixable things, which is really good. But we need to get to work and fix them before we run into situations where we do lose those last regular season games, or we lose that game to NC State. But it's good that our team is getting the experience, because we're a very young team and we're going to learn. And I feel like that's something you can't teach. You just got to go through it. And unfortunately, we had to go through it. But my team's very willing to learn, and I feel like that's super important for like you said, what we need to fix.
So you mentioned how young your team was, and I feel like people are kind of going back and forth. Did you feel that this year, the success that you guys had in the March Madness tournament, did you guys feel like you were ahead of schedule, or was this to be expected for Notre Dame?
I feel like we were light years ahead, but we were also light years behind. In some aspects, I feel like my team is so mature. We kept our composure in games where we could have lost it, and I feel like that's a very mature thing to do. We played in front of the biggest crowds, and we kept together. We kept as a team. But also, like I just said, we have a lot to work on, and that comes with that experience, like we were talking about.
Okay, last question. I don't want to put you on the spot, but top 5, who's your starting lineup? Notre Dame players all time. If you're making the starting 5, who you building? Who's your 5? You can go positionless, you can go position, whatever you want to do.
Who am I building? I'm obviously going to take Sky at point guard.
Right.
I'm going to go Enrique at the 2, Jackie at the 3, Bree Turner at the 4, and Ruth Riley, I think I'm going to have to go with at the 5. I think.
Do you get Coach Ivey or Coach McGraw?
Oh, I don't know. I can't answer that one.
Okay, we'll have 2 head coaches. Let's have them both on the sidelines. Just let them roam. Let them roam.
Yes.
All right. Well, Olivia, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You're more than welcome to come anytime. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure if you're watching on YouTube to hit the like button and subscribe. And if whatever podcasting platform you're on, make sure you rate and subscribe as well. And be back for the next episode.